A tennis shoe floating in murky water. That's all it took to turn a routine environmental cleanup into the discovery that would shatter a family's 12 years of hope and uncertainty. When volunteer divers pulled a submerged Mazda from the depths of an Oregon river, they expected to find another piece of discarded junk. Instead, they found Timothy Robinson, a man who had vanished without a trace in 2008, taking with him every answer his desperate family needed. In 2008, Timothy Robinson vanished without a trace in Oregon, leaving his family desperate for answers. For over a decade, his disappearance remained one of those haunting cold cases that seem impossible to solve. Then, in 2022, a group called Adventures with Purpose volunteers, dedicated to cleaning up waterways, made a discovery that would change everything. What they found at the bottom of a river would finally bring closure to a family that had been searching for 12 long years. Timothy Robinson was more than just another missing person statistic. He was a beloved family member whose absence left a gaping hole in the lives of those who knew him. His brother Doan had spent years wondering what happened, clinging to hope that Timothy might have somehow ended up far away, perhaps even in Amsterdam, living a different life. His niece Jess carried the weight of unanswered questions, never knowing whether to grieve or keep hoping. The family's pain was compounded by the complete lack of closure. Without a body, without evidence, without even a clear understanding of Timothy's final moments, they were trapped in an endless cycle of wondering. Was he alive somewhere? Had he chosen to disappear? Or had something terrible happened to him? These questions haunted his loved ones for over a decade, creating a wound that couldn't heal without answers. Timothy Robinson disappeared in 2008, but the exact circumstances of his vanishing remained shrouded in mystery for years. What we know is that his 2012 Mazda 6 somehow ended up in the depths of an Oregon river, settling 80 feet below the surface in what divers call the junkyard, a deep underwater pit where currents deposit debris. The car had been resting upside down on the river bottom, invisible to casual observers, but perfectly preserved in the cold, dark waters. For 12 years, it sat there like a time capsule, holding the answers to questions that had tormented Timothy's family. The vehicle's license plate, 785 DRY, would eventually become the key to identifying both the car and its occupant. The location where Timothy's remains were found suggests his final journey ended at a boat ramp area, where the river drops dramatically, from 20 feet to 80 feet deep. This underwater geography created the perfect conditions for a vehicle to sink rapidly and remain hidden from surface searches. When Adventures with Purpose discovered Timothy's remains, they immediately transformed from environmental volunteers into witnesses in a potential crime scene. The moment they realized there was a body inside the vehicle, everything changed.
When you first went down there, didn't you try to look inside to see?
I did try to look inside. In fact, even when it was upside down, I looked inside, and I didn't notice even when...
They ceased their live stream, secured the area, and contacted law enforcement, demonstrating the critical transition from cleanup operation to forensic investigation. The discovery required sophisticated underwater recovery techniques. The team had used multiple 1,500-pound capacity lift bags to bring the Mazda 6 to the surface from its 80-foot depth. The staged lifting process was methodical and dangerous, requiring precise calculations to prevent equipment failure and ensure diver safety. Law enforcement treated the scene with appropriate caution, following protocols for potential crime scenes, while the medical examiner was called to secure the remains. The advanced sonar technology that led to the discovery, including down imaging, live scope, and side-scan sonar, had created comprehensive underwater mapping that revealed what traditional search methods had missed. The circumstances surrounding Timothy Robinson's death remain unclear, but forensic evidence suggests his remains had been underwater since around the time of his disappearance. The preservation of both the vehicle and human remains in the cold river environment allowed for potential DNA Identification even after 12 years of submersion. Research indicates that forensic evidence can survive underwater far longer than previously assumed, with skeletal remains potentially yielding successful DNA profiles even after extended aquatic submersion. The modified silica-based purification methods used in such cases can extract viable genetic material from bone tissue that has been underwater for years. The location and position of the vehicle raises questions about whether Timothy's death was accidental or intentional. The deep underwater pit where his car was found is known to divers as a challenging area, with strong currents and sudden depth changes that could easily trap an unsuspecting driver. Timothy Robinson's case is now considered solved, bringing the closure his family desperately needed after 12 years of uncertainty. His brother Doan and niece Jess were finally able to thank the Adventures with Purpose team for giving them answers and allowing them to properly grieve their lost loved one. This case demonstrates how volunteer organizations, armed with advanced technology and unwavering dedication, can sometimes accomplish what traditional methods cannot. It also highlights how many other families might still be waiting for similar answers, wondering what happened to their own missing loved ones. The question remains, how many other vehicles rest at the bottom of our waterways, holding the keys to unsolved disappearances? And what would it mean for those families still searching to know that somewhere, volunteers are diving into dark waters, determined to bring their loved ones home?